All right, this is an object that flew into my frame. And I know you're going to be like, oh, it's probably a bird or something. It is not. This is an object that, this is what it looked like. I've zoomed up pretty high. And I believe this is a creation of the simulation that we live in. Unless anybody can figure out what this is, that would be, I mean, I'm all ears. Let me know. It looks like to me that it's a sphere or a gray sphere, which is exactly right. I have seen spheres where you have this translucent cover over it, and yet this metallic mercury stuff in the middle of that, like sweltering around. And I told you guys once before that these gray spheres or transparent spheres, okay, can grow arms. So the one that I saw grew 2 arms. One went this way, one went that way, and this arm here had a claw, like this, very similar to that. See these 2 prongs? It went like scissors, like almost like. All right, didn't have this, and then the other one on the other side could do the same thing. Whatever it is, it doesn't have the right proportions for a drone. It just doesn't. The drone would be more uniform. What you're seeing first is you're seeing the sphere first, and you're seeing this being created around it. This is the colors of the birds that it would make sometimes, or even dragonflies. And I think we're catching this in a moment of utter disbelief for this object. I just ended up going this way. And the other thing that's very strange here is this gives off some sort of a shadow. So what this tells me is that this thing came straight and ran right through a cloud. And that is the hole that it left in the cloud below it. It went, and you can even see the motion of the clouds and the way the trails are. So let's just darken this a little bit. I'm teaching you how to be a UFO investigator. Do you see the start, these little trailing lines here? They go straight down to where? To here. That's a hole it punched in the cloud layer. So this thing shot up like a rocket. Probably didn't see me, or didn't know I moved my camera really very fast. I went like this from here to here. And this thing is in my camera frame for literally 2 frames, 3 frames. That's the first image. Here's the second image. As you can see, before I can even react, even if I was moving this way, it has already beat me to the punch. Again, even if I would continued moving this way, this thing has beat me to the punch of my momentum, which exactly is what happened. I'm going like this to switch positions. I catch it, it pops through a cloud like this. I catch it, it's like shit. It's actually leaving my frame as I'm going toward it. That's how fast this thing is. Now, when you look at this, you might say, oh, it's a wing of a bird. It might have been an attempt to create a bird. I think what we caught, guys, is one of the fake birds being created, or trying to be created. First off, this is, well, it's not a bird, okay? That's just not a fucking bird. This is, it's going to try to be one. Yeah, it might be try to be 2 of them. I don't know. Here, I think it's an attempt to do something. But again, it's all wrong. So what it's doing now is it's taking a circle here. See the circle? And it's pulling gravity. It's taking the space-time continuum, and it bubbled it out to cover everything. And this little thing here wasn't a big deal. It basically blinded me from seeing the real it. As you can see, there are columns and columns of lines. That's because, just like a satellite takes pictures, this is what's right behind it. So it's taking the imagery behind it and putting it in front of it. This is called like an optical stealth illusion. So what it does is these things are so advanced that it's, I mean, first of all, it's got eyes. It's got a mouth. So what it did is it made a fish. It made a fish. If you want to be totally brutally honest, it's a goddamn fish in the air. I'm just being, you know, I wasn't going to tell people that, but it is. It's a fish. Like a barracuda. See? Eyeball, mouth with teeth. It's a fish. Now, if you don't want to go that route, then we can say, okay, well, then this is a disc or something that's trying to be a bird coming toward me. And then what's this? I mean, we got these, again, you see this mouth here, like, rah. I mean, is that, do we believe that's a bird? Is that a bird's mouth that's yelling and screaming? You know, it's just, whatever it is, it's intentionally taken the imagery behind it and placed it in front of it to blur out the entire thing with the exception of this mouthpiece. And then you have some sort of disc that's totally blocked off as well. If this is the bird, based on my experience, that would be the tail or the head. It could be either one. So what we did is we caught this thing it's an unbelievable catch. It's something that's I've never had this catch before. You don't get the grays this quick. This is a gray. Now look at the shape. Now the shape is get the fuck out of Dodge. Okay? That's what that means. This is real-time imagery. I got 60 frames per second. This thing got out of my... Obviously, I'm going the same direction as it because it went this way. What happened was it punched through the cloud. It was going up through the cloud. Boom, I'm here. And I'm going like this. Hey! So like this. Ah! Get it? Punch through the cloud. Ah! Ah! So I remember seeing something push out, but I didn't know. And now we're back to some position that you could consider some sort of semi-constructed. It's not a bird. It doesn't look like a bird. It's not a bird. It would like to be one probably, but at this point it's more like a bat or it's just we caught it off guard. As you can see, I love this picture because as it tells you, it pulls from the space-time around it. And this is very similar to what I saw and experienced when one flew by me. Is you see these like these little claw things here? That's what it is. This is like this whole thing is like a jelly mold, and inside of it is a liquid metal material, okay, that can freeze up and become permanent whenever it wants, and then it has arms that extend out, and that can do what it wants too. Claws, clippers, hands, whatever. This is not a bird, okay? And here's the eyeball, by the way. That was the fish eye earlier. Now what is it, a flying fish? I mean, it's, you know, I don't know. You got an eyeball here, an eyeball here. That's the only picture I had left of it. As you can see, these are now coiled back, so these are now pushed up, okay? These were some of the ribbons it used for space-time. It pulled it from this area here. See the line, like a triangle? It ripped it down. Now it really doesn't care. It's so fast it blurred out anyways. And you have a million spheres running toward it to help it out. They're everywhere. So the proof is in the pudding. There's only pictures I could get of it. That's it. They only had 3 per frame. So what I did is I slowed it. I actually took an individual image of each one. That's the last one. Okay, here is number 2. Okay. Again, I think that has an identity crisis here. It looks like maybe it wants to be a fish. I mean, that's perfect alignment of a fish. Okay, you just can't see the tail, really. If you looked at it, there's the eye of the fish. There's the mouth. If it wanted to be a bird, that's fine, but we have an incomplete bird, obviously. I told you guys he's a fake. this bird is being half blocked off by nothing, the clear sky. So maybe it went to fish mode, but I guess this is a flying fish. Or there's other ways to look at it. You know, it just depends on your imagination. Here's the sphere, okay? Or here's the sphere, really. And here it is in the middle of constructing the bird. So you're looking at, you know, face of the bird with the mouth. You see how it's all cubed here? It's all like pixelated. You're looking at real alien technology. It's not a joke. It's not funny. Here are some claws too. You can see the I told you, like little eyes and scissors and stuff. And I mean, look what it's doing. It's ripping this stuff from space-time itself in a fashion that is taking the environment around it to create the image. And it has a woven pattern. And see these little weaves, these little lines? That's exactly what the larger consciousness system looks like, by the way. The larger consciousness system is, when it came to see me, the greatest consciousness system, God, it had the same woven pattern, okay? Except the woven pattern had weaves going down this way too. And then in between these weaves, okay, going up and down and horizontal and vertical, you had imagery of different skin color, black, white, Asian, you know, Latino, dark tan, everyone, Irish, really white, pale, albino, all the different color skin tones, and in one of these patches. And then in the other patches, this was her face, this was her arms, everything was a woven fabric like this. And that was her skin. And the skin represented all the skin colors of Earth for different, you know, genetic backgrounds. And then the other squares, it represented Everglades, ocean, clean water, mountains, snow, the climate. Now, there's another way you can look at this too. As we can see here, this is again, this has been influenced. You can see a circle right here. This absolutely has been distorted. It has pulled something down here, and it's somehow got itself into a bubble. It's in this bubble because it has its own gravity. My take on this is that you got two partially made birds that are just getting the fuck out of here. So from this perspective, it looks like a fish from the sky. I'm calling it the first flying fish that I've ever really had to call it on camera. Now, we all know it's trying to be a bird, but it looks like a fish. I can go with a fish then. There's the head. And then this is the $1 million shot. This is the $1 million shot. This is the shot of a lifetime. Somebody tell me what the fuck that is. That is not a drone. That is not a drone. Okay? Because you have something coming out here that's going this way. You have something going that way. You have something going this way. And this is bending, by the way, very weird direction. This one here could be a wing. It wants to be a bird. We're catching it transitioning into a bird. That's what's happening. Here is the sphere, okay? And it's pushing out all these arms. So what it's supposed to do is, this is a sphere. It's got to break apart, create the tail, create the wing, and then this would be what? This would be its face. Or it could be the other way. Maybe this will be the face over here. Here's the tail. These two pieces would be the wing. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that it's a fucked up picture. Okay? And not only that, I can clearly see there's white patches all over here that this thing was also still trying to cover it up. This is a split second happening. I went here and it ripped open through the clouds and went straight up. And when it saw me, it was like, holy shit, he's not supposed to see me. Look at this. That's fucking crazy. I don't know what to tell you. I've never seen anything like it. This piece here reminds me, that's all it needs to be a bird. It doesn't need this other pieces down here. It could have done something like this, but this somehow is attached to this piece. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, gee, you know, I think it was in the process of actually turning into a bird. I think it's a gray sphere on the bottom here, and what it did is it just lifted up and created this bird, and then all of a sudden this would have disappeared, I guess. I don't know. But it's real. And those birds, you guys already know, they're fake. And here's the image of it this way. So it could be a dragonfly. I don't know why I'd create a dragonfly that big, but who the hell knows? It's clearly trying to create some sort of color pattern here and here. But one's in front, one's toward to the side. Then you got this, then you're bending up a tail. It's very confusing. And again, it got out of my frame in 3 frames. That's all it was. 3. And this thing is gone. There's no pictures of it. This thing, and I'm still going this way. The reflexes of these machines is unimaginable. I should have been able to catch this thing in a heartbeat, and I didn't. I got a fish.